Ron, you say that medicine is a way for people from both sides of this conflict to understand their common humanity. Can you elaborate on that?
In every society, there's a need for people to get to know the other. The context of Israel-Palestine is such that over the last 20 years, there's been a growing chasm between Israelis and Palestinians. Very little direct contact across border. And a young generation of Israelis and young generation of Palestinians have grown up who've had zero interaction with each other. And in that environment, you actually can be guaranteed that narratives lead to all sorts of different outcomes. One of the pathways that is really destructive is the pathway of delegitimization and dehumanization. And unfortunately, that's a growing problem. Health is a space, a safe space. No matter what happened the last 10 years, the people who promoted non-normalization between Palestinians and Israelis never, ever touched the health space. It was a given that if there is a critically ill Palestinian child in need of treatment for their blood cancer, they will be transferred to the hospitals in Israel for treatment. The challenges of financing the trips, some of these kids have to do 4 and 5 trips a week. That cost cannot be borne by the families. So we are very privileged and in a position to help by providing volunteer drivers and also bus services. What you find, and it's fascinating and really important, is that they have a common language. They have a universal language of health. When you bring nurses who are Palestinian and nurses who are Israeli together, they find common cause. They start warily, but as the more that they engage together, they find that they share a common mission. The Gazan situation is one of 75 years, pretty much of dependence on handout. In that kind of environment, people haven't been given agency to really pursue what they need to pursue. And I see it all the time. On the other hand, in the West Bank, they aren't dependent on handout. There's been a lot of agency, and the Palestinians in the West Bank have built their own economic infrastructure. Education is high quality. Hospitals are good. There's much more potential for aspiration in the West Bank than there is in Gaza. That has to be dealt with. I don't know what the mechanism is to do it, but there has to be a transition from handout to hand up, from aid to development. You give people the capacity to grow, to pursue their aspirations and to do stuff. You will create a society that's got much more sustainability than the current situation in Gaza, more akin to what's going on in the West Bank.